Well, welcome to the Finish with a Flourish website. I have Taryn Hoff here, who is one of the trainers that works with me at the Family Life Center. And I've asked him here today to interview me because this page is going to feature a number of interviews with different people who are over 60, who are still exercising or have started exercising, and who feel like that what they do for fitness is a very important part of their life. And I'm just asking them why. Why is it important? What makes you do it? So I asked Taryn, since I'm going to be interviewing a number of people about this as the website grows, I thought I would start off by having someone interview me, and I couldn't think of anybody better than Taryn. So I'm going to let him introduce himself right now so you know a little bit more about who he is.
All right, thank you, Susan. Yeah, and I appreciate it. And as Susan was saying, I'm Taryn, the traveling trainer, and we are here actually right now on location in Buckhead, as Susan was saying. And I really appreciate this offer, too. Susan, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, being with us, and being able to help so many people like you do. You do such a wonderful job. As we talked about before recording, you've come out and guest spoken at Georgia State University several times. Oh, I mean, you're amazing, and so I can't think of anyone better to do this. And congratulations, by the way, too, to your new website. Yeah, absolutely. So first question off the bat, Susan, I think it's important for the people to know you and get to know you better. So since I'm going to conduct this interview as a get to know you, we've talked and we've known each other for years now, but now let's delve back, let's go backwards in time if that's possible, and just kind of look at maybe talking about what got you interested in fitness, your passion. I know the story, and you've told a little bit about the running. Why don't you take it away and kind of tell the folks out there what that looks like?
Okay, I talked about running. That was pretty much what I did to keep fit from my early 20s all the way through 1996 when I ran the New York City Marathon. And after that, my running career was kind of over. I started looking for some other stuff. But if we go back before that, when I went to college, I came home the summer after my freshman year, and I had actually put on the freshman 30, not just the freshman 15, right? I had just really ballooned up, and my mom was kind of appalled. So she said, "You're going to spend the summer at the gym." And I said, "What are you talking about? I've never been to a gym before." So she bought me a gym membership at one of the big box gyms, and I went there pretty much every day. I didn't have a job that summer, so I pretty much went to the gym every summer. And I just transformed myself. I lost that 30 pounds. I got trim. I got fit. And I was just so excited about how well it worked. And so then I was looking for something else, and then I found the Peachtree Road Race. And I ran the Peachtree Road Race for almost 30 years. I ran it every year. So I did a lot of running. And what I realized as I got older, though, was that I thought I was in great shape because I could run 26 miles. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in good shape. Just because you can do one thing well, fitness is more balanced. And especially as you get older, you feel like that there's a lot of things that you have to be paying attention to. Your balance, your strength, your flexibility, your core strength. All of those are important. So as I got older, I started doing Pilates, and found that was I developed some core strength that I had never had in my whole life. I mean, even though I could run a marathon, I still couldn't just hold myself up with just my core, and now I can do that. So for me, it also improves my balance because I have to use balance in those classes. I also do a lot of walking. I live about 4.5 miles from here, and I will sometimes just walk to work.
Wow.
And I walk, I have a friend in New York City, and I'll go up there and walk for 10 or 12 miles. And I'll walk here. I did a 5-mile hike a couple of days ago. So basically walking and Pilates is what I do. I do like to do yoga when I have a chance. So those three things keep me balanced, keep me with core strength, keep me able to do all the things that I can do right now. And I'm 70 right now, so I'm hoping that when I'm 80, I'll still be doing all the same stuff that I'm doing. I'll still be doing 5-mile hikes. I'll still be doing Pilates classes. I'll still be able to walk as far as I want to. So that's my goal, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, and Susan, that's impressive. When I first met you, you carried around like a Bible with you called Younger Next Year. That is kind of the Bible. That seems like you're truly living it. You're the living example of that book.
Well, one of the things that he points out in that book is that exercise doesn't simply give you physical strength. There are also changes in your brain, that there are brain chemicals that are produced when you exercise that are not produced any other way. So actually, exercise can stave off depression. Some of the research studies about Alzheimer's have shown that the only thing that makes any, although it be small, difference is exercise.
Wow.
The overall, and it doesn't reverse it. It doesn't cure it. It's not something that you can, that we can rely on after somebody gets Alzheimer's. But I'm betting that if you stay fit, and if you get fit, and if you keep your brain healthy, I'm going to mention something else too. One of the other things that I like about Pilates is that there's a huge cognitive component to it. When you're doing the Pilates exercise, you have to think about where your shoulders are. You have to think about where your abs are. You think about where your tailbone is. And then you do other movements. But you are thinking through everything that you're doing. It's not something that you do, like a lot of people I see on the elliptical reading a book.
Or on the treadmill sometimes.
On the treadmill, which
impresses me. I don't understand how they do it.
No, I think that's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So you're thinking about what you're doing, and I also like to see, as they point out in Younger Next Year, they point out the exercise. They also point out the importance of social connection. And one of the things that fitness will give you, especially if you like classes, you develop a social connection. Most people go to classes with the same people, so you have people that you can chat with and that you can enjoy their company. And then there's also the cognitive component. So there's three things that Younger Next Year says that you have to focus on. Is your physical exercise, your cognitive, staying sharp, giving yourself something to think about, and staying active socially so that you're in touch with other people.
Wow, Susan. And, that's great. Your history of how you delved into this is just quite impressive. It's a personal testimonial. I have a question for you, too, that I'm sure you get asked a lot, and we hear it, especially from seniors, which you specialize in, Seniors for Fitness. If someone comes to you and asks you straight out, I feel old, it's too late for me, isn't it too late for me to start up an exercise plan? What do you tell them?
I would say it's really never too late. Unless, even if you're bedridden, there's things you can do in bed. I just think that it helps to move. And a lot of people, I have people that are in their 80s that come to me and that have never been to a gym before, have never lifted a dumbbell, never done anything. And there are lots of things that we can start with doing. Their chair exercises. We have a whole chair yoga class here. So there are lots of things that people can do to get started slowly. And you're probably not going to get to the level that you could have gotten if you had been active your whole life, but you can certainly make a difference in how you continue. And I think balance exercises and Pilates and yoga and some of the other things that focus on strength and balance are really what older people need. And they should be doing it regardless of how old they are.
I totally agree with you, especially, that balance and strength. And, let me ask you this, Susan, because we didn't talk too much about this right now, but if the folks are kind of concerned about, doing the land exercise, so to speak, what about getting in the swimming pool as an option?
I do that with a lot of people, a lot of older people, a lot of people with injuries. I have one client that has MS that loves to exercise in the pool because people with MS can't get too hot. So she can exercise and not overheat. It's just, people with arthritis too. It's a great place to start, and there's some people that just stay there. And you can do a little bit of strength training in the water. You can't do heavy strength training in the water just because the water's so helpful. Yeah. So you've got gravity, you've still got gravity pulling you down, and you've got the water lifting you up. So it's really hard to get any significant strength training there. But if you're not very strong, if you need to work on core strength particular or balance or walking in the water is a great exercise. There are lots of ways that you can get started in the water. Or that you can just keep going in the water if you're older.
That's awesome.
It's a nice challenge.
It's so great. There's so many options out there, like you said. And working with you, it looks like you pretty much provide all those options. So
I specialize with working with people over 60. I don't take any clients that are under 60. So that gives me the opportunity to learn more about people of that age. So every time I take a new client, I learn something new.
Yeah.
So I really don't want to work with the younger people. I really want to keep with the people that I'm working with now, because I think there's so much need, and there's also so much opportunity and so much joy in working with this population. So
yeah, no question. You know, Susan, you mentioned just now about you get to learn from them, and it brings you a lot of joy. What do you find most rewarding, and what do you find enlightening from, you know, your viewpoint working with your clients that you've seen?
I have seen people with post-surgical, very serious surgeries, spine fusions. I have seen people with rheumatoid arthritis, with osteoarthritis. I've seen people with MS. I just am so amazed with just their stick-to-itiveness, the fact that they'll keep coming to the gym, even though I know they're hurting and I know they're not making the progress that they wish they were making, but they understand that they're making the progress that they can make.
Yeah.
And they keep that attitude. I just love watching people with attitude, with really great attitude. So,
let me ask you about that, Susan. Like, what percentage would you give to attitude in terms of the workout to your clients? Like, is there a percentage? Like, is it truly everything?
It's really, it's what gets you here, what gets you going, gets you doing anything. So if the attitude isn't there, then there's not going to be much effort. And people might just try to start and then not be able to finish or get discouraged. So the attitude really has to keep you going. And through illness, I mean, I've had people with, I had a client that went in for gallbladder surgery. Like, all of a sudden, like, we did a workout and the next day she was in the hospital. And so she was out for a month, but she was like, we talked on the phone several times, you know, during that time, and she was like, I can't wait to get back in the pool. I can't wait to get back in the gym. I can't believe this. She lost a lot of weight, but she came back and she was still doing it. So, so I think it's pretty critical.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And, you know, like you said, attitude helps them get to finish, you know, getting to this finish point, hence finishing with a flourish. How did you come up with that name, by the way, out of curiosity?
I just thought that's kind of what I want to do. It's like, I want to keep going. I'd like to be doing the same things when I'm 80 or 90 or over that I'm doing right now, because they're, and I'm not water skiing anymore, okay, and I'm not running marathons anymore, but that's okay. I want to be able to keep walking. I want to be able to keep staying strong, doing the Pilates. And if I can keep doing that, I'm good. And that's flourishing for me. So when I came up with the name Finish with a Flourish, some of my kids and my younger friends were like, oh, you shouldn't want to bring up something like finish. You don't want to remind people that they might die. And I said, you know, I think most people that are over 60 are kind of aware of that already. Maybe when you're 20 or 30 something, it's kind of like something you don't want to think about. But, you know, most of us do. And most of us think that we can see how we'd like to be. And that we can take steps. We can do things with our diets. We can do things with our exercise. We can do things with what we do socially, with what we do mentally. We have the ability to do things that will help us flourish. And we know we're you know, we're approaching the finish line.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is, so it's how are you going to get there? And my idea was that I want to work with people that want to get there with a flourish.
I like that. That's excellent. And let me ask you this, Susan, because this is an interesting question I think that you can really help answer. You know, there's kind of two schools of thought here when people are either, let's say, diagnosed with a disease or have an injury, are overweight, high blood pressure, you name it, name any ailment. There's two schools of thought. One is you've got the simple solution of going to the doctor and getting a pill, getting surgery, getting a weight loss supplement, getting on a protein shake that maybe will help them, versus the thought of the second thought, which I think we like, is the quote, exercise is medicine. What is exercise is medicine to you? What does that mean? Well,
going back to what I talked about the brain chemicals and about the fact that it really does make a difference in how you function. And clearly your heart has to be exercised. You can't develop cardiovascular strength without doing something that puts a little extra load on your heart.
Right.
So, and what you get from putting that little extra load on your heart is you get a stronger heart. So in that sense, I think it is medicine. I think that a lot of people do need to go to the doctor. There are medications that help, but if you're going to the doctor and you're not exercising, I think you need to, not necessarily flip that around, but I think that you need to add the exercise. The exercise ought to be your foundation. Okay, and then you see what happens to your blood pressure, what happens to your heart, what happens to your balance when you exercise. And then if you need help beyond that, then you can turn to medicine. But I think the exercise as medicine should be your foundation.
Yeah, much agreed. I love that. And Susan, in terms of this now finishing with a flourish, the website, can you talk about some of the folks you might have lined up and maybe some of the interesting stories and interviews they're going to have for your website, please?
Yeah, I have a person in Florida who has stayed active in the gym, has been working out for a long time, and so he's going to talk about what that means. I have one of my clients that wants to talk about the fact that she comes here because she won't do it herself, and so she comes and works with the trainer because her exercise is so important for her, and she just can't seem to find the way to get that done. With seniors are so busy now; they have so much stuff to do. And this lady is also somebody that has been coming to water aerobics classes 3 days a week for 20 years, and she's learned how to put that in her calendar. So it's like I'm going to have her talk about her commitment to exercise and what she'll do in order to get there. And then I have a lot of other people. I have a young man here, who's not quite in his 60s, but who lost a leg when he was a child. And he's been working out for many, many years, and I see him at the gym every day, and he's going to talk about his commitment to exercise. So we've got a lot of good interviews coming up.
Awesome. That is good. Susan, I've got one person I know that we could both think of, and she might be watching right now, in fact. We know her, Kathy, who, by the way, celebrated. Hi, Kathy. I think she turned 70 this year and joined you.
She's been a friend of mine for many, many years, and we're the same age. Our birthdays are both in May. So we're like 2 weeks, 2 weeks apart. So, yeah. So,
yeah, you got to get her on your show.
Great. I need to get her on the show, definitely.
Yes,
Right.
she's watching. And Randy, too.
And Randy, too. Right.
Perfect. All right. That sounds great, Susan.